She is an independent journalist. Miriam, tell everybody where they can find your work so that they can maybe pull you up while we are here on the line.
I just did a part 1 of the deadly insurrection or false flag for activist posts. So I've been writing for them. I'm hemorrhaging followers on Twitter, but you could find me at Miriam Hinane. I love Twitter. I wish Jack loved us. And I've just joined Gab as Lady B. Mm-hmm. I have my backup channel because my channel was killed at Miriam Hinane B Lady 2. And I think what I'd like to invite is I've created this Truth Avengers, Truth Lives Here channel, and I've invited others like Sarah West-Hall and Tribunal Watch and Zach and Vivian Kubrick and whoever, Helen of Destroy, whoever wants to put something, and just I'm really like a sister bee, like cross-pollinating, and I don't know what I would do without people like you, Zach, people who are committed, intelligent, working together, comparing notes. It's really kept me sane, and I feel so grateful to speak to people. I mean, it was a fantastic to go to the Capitol. I saw Mickey. Did you meet Mickey Willis?
I did not meet Mickey, no. I saw him on video, but I didn't actually get to meet him in person. I couldn't get up there. I had talked to Charlene Bollinger about, getting access, but it wasn't possible. There were like 1 million people in between us and the Ellipse by the time we were there. And we got there early, too.
Oh, yeah? What time did you get there?
We were there at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, us too. I woke up at 5:30, and Ali gave Zach and I a VIP pass. And so, I feel really blessed that I got so close to the president. And so Mickey, just as an aside, had social media smear him, and because he was behind people that supposedly were saying hang Pence, mm-hmm. and then now is like being called a domestic terrorist, and Dr. Simone Gold mm-hmm. got arrested. I mean, I'm like, call me. I'm looking forward to your call because I am on tape saying, stop the violence, not stop the steal, stop the violence, and I'm not scared. But I know a lot of people are getting calls. I was told just tell them they can speak to your lawyer, be very nice to them, and they're just doing their job. So anyway, that's where you can find me. If you can put the link for the Truth Avengers.
TruthAvengers.com.
No, sorry, it's on Telegram.
Oh, okay. I'll copy it from Telegram. Now, Blue Eyes on Q in the chat just said that they've followed me for over 2.5 years and they're disappointed. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, our favorite Anon said the ending wouldn't necessarily be for everyone. Unfortunately, I mean, people want what they want, I mean, they want it now, and, nobody knows the timeline, unfortunately. I mean, I wish that I could tell you something different. I'm not going to come on here and blow hot air up your rear end, though, and pretend like I have any more knowledge than anybody else. I'm just a guy who's been paying attention and trying to sort through this information. And, if you're talking about specifically this story because you thought that this bankruptcy case was real, the only thing that I can tell you is that, I want to make sure that everybody has accurate information, and I'm not going to bring you information that I can't tell you 100% is truly authentic. What I can tell you is that I have a source who brought me this story prior to Miriam, and his information is different but not connected to this. And what I want to make sure people understand, because I've seen everybody everywhere today posting this and saying, this is it, this is what's happening, I'm telling you to be very careful, because although this could be what is taking place, I can't tell you with certainty that these documents, this case, this specific letter from Donald Trump is like an actual factual thing. It's a real court case. We can look it up. We can see it. We can talk about it. But I don't want anybody to get their hopes hung up on saying, this particular thing is the way that it's going. So, it's not over. It's definitely not over. I don't believe that it's over. I don't think President Trump would abandon us. and I don't believe that the military would either. And as I've said through many different points throughout this conversation, there are so many anomalous happenings that have taken place, not only over the last 4 years, but only since Joe Biden has taken his inauguration.
Right.
So just continue to hang in there, okay? You know, General Flynn gave that quote from George Washington, I believe, what was it, on January 1st? He said, if you can just wait 30 days, you know, so who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? I mean, President Trump's going to speak to us tomorrow. I mean, reserve judgment and continue to stick with us.
May I say something to that? This has really been a testament of faith, that no matter what, we have to have faith and to consider that they want to demoralize us. It's part of the regime training.
Absolutely, yes.
And to blame us, I also, you know, just like, you know, blaming everything on Trump, like, oh, bad hair day. Thanks, Trump. Everything's your fault. You killed all those people because Corona. It's just nonsense. It's one-dimensional. It negates the shades of gray that are occurring. My point, I tried, you know, I said right away, I found this lawsuit. Please help me dig. I just found it. There's a lot of names. There's a lot of tentacles. Yep. It just so happens to mention White House, Trump, China, and the Federal Reserve. The Vatican is separate than what we've been told, and at least just use it as context to educate yourself, because there are really some fascinating things, in my opinion. And this person has a breadth of knowledge. And I was telling Zach, like, can you imagine what work went into this to put this together? You know, to just say someone's crazy, I think hopefully by now we know that is gaslighting. That is to shut you down. My mentor told me that's the most dangerous thing that someone could say. You're crazy. And I try not to do it to the other side.
Mm-hmm. All right, here is Miriam's Telegram group. It's titled Truth Lives Here, but it's at Truth Avengers. So I'm going to drop that link into the chat. Hopefully you guys can go ahead and join. Let's see. Red Pill, I've seen the oldest corporate paperwork years ago. I wanted it to be closed for years. Thank you for your hard work all these years. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Anon 530545. We've got Bruce Wayne on the line. Bruce, are you there, buddy?
Good evening, Zach. It's actually Bruce Banner.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bruce. It's the Hulk, not Batman. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's
sorry,
not,
dude.
It's not easy being green. Bonsoir, Mariam. Comment ça va?
Bonjour, ça va bien, merci.
Sorry, I won't speak any more French for the guest's sake, but very nice to hear you both tonight. Good, very good meeting. I don't want to forget, Zach, I forgot to ask you last time. Is Cash App available outside of the USA?
I don't know. If it is, you would find it in the App Store on your phone. But if you search Cash App, then you should find it. If it's not, and you do want to support the show, you should just be able to go to my website, redpill78news.com/donate. And you can use your credit card or debit card to do either a one-time donation or a recurring donation. But yeah, they've basically shut down every other possible means of support. So anybody that wants to support the show, I greatly appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, because I've done PayPal in the past, but that's no longer. And Cash App, I don't believe is available for us in Canada. So
okay.
I had two main points, and the first one, I've had this thought about. I don't know what the proper way to refer to it is, but I mean, a lot of people want to sue when they've had their rights violated. But I had an interesting idea that perhaps some kind of a class action lawsuit against the mask manufacturers for mislabeling, because the government is forcing everybody to wear masks to protect against coronavirus, but on the boxes of masks it says right on there that it does not protect against coronavirus.
They're made in China too. They're made in China.
Right. So I think it'd be very interesting, because in my mind it would be like a catch-22, where if you lose the case, you win, and if you win the case, you win. It doesn't matter what the outcome is. Does that make sense to you?
Say more. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so we're being told we have to wear a mask to protect us from the coronavirus, but right on the mask box it says does not protect it against coronavirus. So we could sue the mask manufacturers for mislabeling. like false advertising.
Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
gotcha.
So you could bring it into a court case and have the mask company prove in court that it does not protect against coronavirus.
Yeah, either way.
So if you lose, you win, because that's what we want to prove, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say you win, you get a bunch of money.
Let's do it. Class
it's
action.
a win-win. So I want to put that out there.
Reach out
I'm not-
to Rocco.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but it's just a thought that I had. So that was the point number one. And then the second point was just like you guys and everybody else listening, I'm sure my wife and I have been in a very, very sad and in a deep state of depression because of the events and the election.
Mm-hmm.
But like everyone else, I've been doing a lot of research and soul searching. So I wanted to put out some encouraging things that I've come up with. So the very early on, like post 26, Q said, the military is the only way.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been the case.
Yep.
And he said that was the biggest advance drop on poll. That's the biggest drop.
Yep.
So then we all got sidetracked. We kind of got pumped up about Trump and the DOJ, and he was going to drain the swamp. And so I've come up with a theory that quite some time ago, I felt that Trump actually may have been the biggest decoy of all because of his big, brash, bold personality, balls of steel. And I mean, we saw the heat that he took. The deep state threw everything that they had at him. They didn't hold back. They were expending ammunition. So we all believed he was going to do something, but so did the deep state. They really believed that he was a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you listen to interviews of people who have been very close with Trump, they all say that he's nothing like that when you know him privately.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very kind. He's very generous.
Mm-hmm.
And he listens attentively. He doesn't attack.
Sorry, I'd like to say that I've caught him many times being that when he's engaging with the people.
Yes.
Sorry, go
Yes.
on.
No, that's great. That's great. So the false expectations were ours because Q never gave any dates. He never gave any specific dates.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the plan would be a piece of shit if we could figure it out.
Yeah, if it was easy enough for us to pinpoint it, then you have to absolutely know that the other side would have already done that too.
That's right. And then Q always talked about the art of war and look here, not over there. And that's what the deep state's been doing with Russia versus China. But it's a great strategy, distractions. So even the buildup of the military in Washington, D.C., I said to my wife about a week before inauguration, I said to her, this is so ridiculous. I feel that it's a misleading setup. It's meant to take attention away from something else. So I said, I believe, and I can't prove it, I believe that there's real ops going on somewhere else, but not in D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that the deep state was scared shitless of that as well on both directions. Like Pelosi requested that they bring in the National Guard because they were afraid against Trump rioters.
Mm-hmm.
But then they also got scared of the military themselves. So we know that they're obviously reading Q. So the plan really worked well in that regards. So I think it was a very well executed plan, and of course nothing happened. So it was a giant buildup and nothing happened. Of course they're still there. Something could happen. We don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
And go ahead, Miriam.
Bruce, if you heard that, again, take it with a grain of salt, but this is intel officer, a real military, very intelligent, could tell you a very high IQ, that said that Q started organically, was then co-opted by the military, and that Trump was an operation. So just, and I'm not crapping on Q or, but it could be a positive psyop, and it definitely was part of the Great Awakening. But anyway,
that statement, I believe, is 100% true, by the way. And so what we have to realize is that we look at Trump in the final days before the 20th. Remember all the big hype we had from Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, Patrick Byrne, all these people, the pillow guy. They were coming out, and we were all grasping at straws of hope. And Patrick Byrne, especially with that one interview where he talked about Pat Cipollone and what a traitor he was, and there was all these paths to victory for Trump, but Cipollone kept steering him away from it. Now, I look at it this way. Trump has got nerves of steel. He's not scared of anything or anybody, and he's not an idiot. So if he had a path to victory, he would have taken it.
Mm-hmm.
if he didn't take it, if those were true paths to victory and he didn't take it, it's because that was the plan.
I absolutely agree. You know, I mean, what better way for him to be insulated if he's not actually in the office of the president anymore?
100%.
Yeah, anything that happens now, you know, I mean, if Biden just completely screws up the country and shows that he is completely ill-prepared to actually be the commander-in-chief and the military has to take over, it's not a military coup. I mean, like, they're actually fulfilling their obligations to the Constitution. And Bruce, I'm going to need you to sign off, buddy. We got 10 people waiting.
I just have one very quick fast.
Yeah.
Okay, post 11. Okay, and let me ask you this, Zach. Who is the commander-in-chief of the military?
I mean, I thought it was POTUS.
Okay, but in post 11, Q says who is the commander-and-chief?
Oh, that is an interesting distinction.
So think about Chris Miller, and I'll let you go on that.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say that I encourage people to look after the fact at the Transition Integrity Project, because they knew a lot, and it was a tabletop exercise, just like Event 201, where they mentioned Pence, they mentioned Michigan, they mentioned that there's going to be riots. So it's very interesting, but they tabletopped it. There is a scenario where there are two presidents. Now that I think of it, of what he said, Commander-in-Chief, people aren't going to stop listening to Trump.
But the commander-and-chief may be the Secretary of Defense, is what I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
Chris Miller. And then one more thing, 10 days of darkness, I suspect could also mean multiple meanings exist. Biden being kept in the dark from the Pentagon intelligence.
Very well could be.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks, Bruce. Always a great call. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Yep, have a great one. We'll see you.